Okay, we're gonna be picking up this guy to go to Montana. This is a 30-footer, 13.6, 14,000 pounds is what we got. This is a blue reinforced, I guess. I'm not sure if that's fiberglass or that's steel walls. It's some kind of material. It's poly something. Anyway, it's got a bump out in the front here on a 2-axle frame, and it's a little dirty. It's got quite a bit of low clearance piping down below. It's got the big wheels, big axles. The landing gear, look at that. It's really light, low to the ground. Very much a lot of dirt on it, and no license plate on the back. The back bump out as well. Rear bump out, whatever you call it. Okay, so this is kind of the condition currently, other than seeing a little bit of dirt all the way around it. You know, I don't really see any issues to be concerned with that much just yet. I'm gonna do a complete inspection on it a little later as I connect to the truck. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are in Eugene once again with our 1-ton truck. We're going to be towing or transporting this beast of a unit here going to Montana, Bozeman, Montana. It's 13.6 tall. Kind of looks a little tall the way it sits, but it's 13.6 tall. It's 30 feet long. It's about 14,000 pounds, maybe a little less depending. Anyway, it's got 2 axles on the frame itself. It's a larger frame. We're gonna have to do some readjusting the hitch itself so that way it lowers down so it stays balanced. Right now it's sitting a little twisted or tilted this way. This is higher. The tongue is higher than the rear. Anyway, the unit itself is manufactured here in Eugene, and it's gonna be delivered to Bozeman, Montana, with a partial drop in Boise and reassignment to a new driver that we have there, who's going to make the complete delivery. Anyway, this is kind of what it looks like. It's a little dirty. It's been sitting here for quite a bit of time. We're going to connect to it and make certain that the lights work, make certain that the axles torqued, wheels are torqued, the lug nuts, the tire pressures is good. Look for any loose or free materials such as vents or hanging items underneath, especially the landing gear. We're going to adjust those. But otherwise, it looks like a pretty nice unit. Whoever's going to own it, or whoever the owner is, and we'll make the safe delivery to Montana. What we have to do is obviously disconnect the binders here. Make sure that they're loose. We took off the chain that locks and lags this hitch assembly here, the insert. We're going to drop the insert down a couple of drops, so that way it comes in leveled with the coupling device here. You always want to have a level unit. The unit has to always be at its best when it's traveling, because that's just how it needs to be. So if you don't have the unit leveled, you're going to find rough rides. You know, when you're going to be on the road, the unit will move around, bounce around. You're going to have a bunch of different issues going down the road. So you want to level it as best as you can. You don't want to put too much weight on the tongue or on the ball itself. So if it's sitting flat while traveling and it's leveled on both sides, looks straight, then it'll give you a balanced ride on the road. So here I am now taking these bolts off and the connector, lowering it down a degree or two. Actually, in this case, it's going to be, I believe, we're at 2 increments. That means that we want to make certain that
we are having a little bit of debris inside. I should have cleaned it up inside the bolt thingamajig, but that looks kind of where it needs to be. So because it's a little dirty, the coupling itself needs a little help. So do that. Now the bolt, if you can see here. Oh, I'm talking to the camera guy. You got it all secured, all in place. Now just put the screws back in there. And since we lowered it down, we should have a balanced ride. And that's how it goes. Everything needs to be balanced. Just like Mr. What's his name used to say. I don't know what his name is, but he used to say it. Oh, what was his name? The guy on OPB. No, I forget. What was his name? Do you remember the guy on OPB?
I don't.
Oh, his name, he used to make that kids show. Neighbor thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, once you met my neighbor.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. I forget his name. I watched Mr. Rogers. I watched a documentary the other day about him. He apparently went to seminary school. He was a priest in some ways, and then he was also a musician. Anyway, there you go, guys. It's lowered enough. Now we are leveled, and so when we make the connection, we should get the rear. As you can see, it's much higher here, much lower there, and should be just leveled. Connected, the lights are on. The unit is more leveled. It's sitting on its own. It's sitting straight. The marker lights are all operational, and the chains are connected. The 7-way is connected, obviously. We got the lower marker lights. We got the upper marker lights. This is not an oversized unit. Ouch, I just got these little pokey things just poked me. Anyway, all the marker lights. There is a vent up there, if you can see that. I don't know how that's going to do. I hope wind is not going to affect that one, but there's also a specific ramp here that's actually a deck that it's strapped by a strap and secured. We're going to double check on that once we get back on the road as well. We've already checked the tires, the tire pressures. We checked the lugs themselves. They're torqued to 100 psi. So tires are 65s. One of it is a little more overinflated. The unit's drag chains are crisscross. We've got the ball hitch. It's a 2 5/16 ball hitch adapted, and we've got the counter bars themselves, or the counterweight, not necessarily for this unit, but anyway, we have them there just in case additional support is needed. The unit is closed. I got to do the bill of lading paperwork for the release. Otherwise, we're gonna get up on the road and take this to Idaho. We're at a scale station. It's open and free for public to use. We're gonna come across this to see what we're gonna weigh on the Montana load in combination between the truck and the trailer. So front steer axle and the truck steering wheel axle, it's reading 4,100. The rear drive of my truck, is 9,950, and the trailer axles are 12,500 in total weight. So we got 9,950, 12,500, plus whatever the steer was. I forget what the steer was. I think it was 4,000. Anyway, I gotta look to see. So that's how you combine the three together. That will be your GVRW, your total weight for your truck and trailer combination.
We're here in Troutdale. Rhonda with her truck is gonna hook up to this tiny home here that we got set up. She's gonna be taking it over to Peter up in Idaho, who's gonna continue on. And she's now gonna back it in and make the connection. She's the other driver we've got that's making deliveries of tiny homes. And she has a nice GMC that's gonna make this delivery very comfortable, hopefully, all the way to Idaho. It's coming down a little bit here and there, snowing, sporadic flakes, and a lot of sleet. But she will be fine heading that direction with this big rig, dualies, all that good stuff. Anyway, she's backing in very well with the backup camera there, and looks like she's getting real close almost. I'll let her figure this out. She's a little more. Stop. We got to raise it up a little bit. Yeah, so it just needs to go up a little bit so it can be leveled, as you know. We like our units leveled so that way they ride better on the road. She's got a class 6 hitch here, and you know, this hitch is a little sturdy, hard, but we'll make it happen. It just needs to come up maybe a half an inch or two. And Rhonda, being a strong young lady, and she can do a lot more things than most guys do, and she's doing a great job here. You can take your time. This is the hardest part, raising the landing gear, especially with these larger tiny homes. And it looks like you're pretty much good now. You can probably just clear it. Well, you can go up higher if you want, a couple more. But this is what it takes, you guys. Doesn't matter if you're a 20-year-old, a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old. You can do a tiny home. You can transport as long as you pay attention to the sides, the weights. You are safe on the road. You know, anybody can do this. And look, Rhonda's going to be backing in right here, just a little bit, with the use of a backup camera. Come on, you're good. Another 2 inches. Right, a little more, one more time. A little bit more, one more back, just a slight bit. Right there, good, perfect. So that looks excellent. Now when she releases the brake, it will shift a little bit. Oh no, this truck is a nice truck. Sometimes these trucks have a parking assist. So she's right on it. Is it a neutral now or a park? You should be good. You should lower it right onto it. So it will squeeze right under and slide. Generally, that's what balls do, kind of find their force of least resistance. And look at that, right on the money. So that was a perfect hookup, by the way. It is so important to have a backup camera if you get your hands on one. But yeah, keep going until it's completely loose. And if you don't got a backup camera, you can buy yourself one, or you'll just have to come back and forth, you know, and readjust it. I recommend using a backup camera, but in most cases, you know, most everybody can do without a backup camera. So here we are, connected almost. We're gonna put the drag chains, crisscross them as we normally do. Completely raise the landing gear. Yep, you're good. That's set up. That's connected.
I have a hook.
We're gonna raise the landing gear all the way up and make this guy leveled, or make certain that it's level. Looks like your class 5 hitch assembly with a Tune 516 ball and the reinforced bracketing hitch assembly is holding it just perfect. If needed to be, we can readjust it, but we won't know until we get there. So at this moment, we're pretty secure. We just need to get the chains on, the landing gear up, the 7-way, and of course, she's putting a pin, which is awesome. That way, nobody steals that sucker overnight, and it stays connected, which I recommend you guys buy one of those. How much that cost you?
You know, I don't remember. I've had that for so long.
Yeah.
They're not much.
That's really nice.
Yes.
So
I love deterrents for people.
you got, you know, a lot of people these days. So by the way, if the chains drag at any point, twist them until they're loose. Like the one on the one side, you can twist a couple more links. So that one that you got there, you twist no, leave it right there and just twist the chain.
just twist this chain so that way it tightens it up a little bit.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It gives you a little less. But again, you don't want to see like what there's two. You don't want to over twist it because then it'll catch into the ball hitch assembly. But you don't want to loosen it up too much. So I'm doing this one-handed, and so this kind of looks just about right. You know, if you can clear about 4 or 5 inches, 6 inches off the ground, you're good. Especially with a low-profile trailer like this. So here we are. The two chains are crisscrossed. You got the breakaway right now being hooked up.
You don't want that to drag either?
Yeah, you try not to drag. If you can wrap it around so it does not drag, and then you want to make sure that you got the clearance so it makes the turns. But you want to. Sometimes you have to be innovative on that. There you go. It is still a little loose, but you'll figure it out. Just you don't want to catch, and you want to keep it somewhat. Sometimes you got to wrap it around so that way it stays. Yeah, there you go. Just enough that. And again, keep in mind if this catches, this is your breakaway controller. It will lock your wheels on your trailer. So you want to have it loose, but not. This is actually the most crucial part of securing your load. Or connecting. Your breakaway is what will lock your wheels if it gets snagged somewhere. And then you got your 7-way, which, whoops, 7-way. You see these 7-way plugs. Sometimes this is a brand new trailer, but sometimes these get wet, dirty, and messy. So I take a little bit of air and shake it out just in case if it's sitting around. And Rhonda's got a 7-way over here and a 4-way, looks like.
I was just wondering, because it's a new truck, what this is.
You know, I believe this is for your spare. So you pull this out.
That is what it is.
Yeah, so you
put the key in and it'll
lower
down.
Yep. So now that we're almost hooked up, we need to raise the landing gear, which is quite low, and then uncouple it. I think the highest you can reach is when it stops, and then uncouple the little bracket on the bottom and raise it up even more higher so that you've got the clearance you need. And then we're going to check the marker lights and the 4-ways. And so you want to try to take that out. Yep, it'll drop on you, and then yeah, there we go. So now we got the perfect clearance. And then make sure it latches back, otherwise you're going to lose it. And so this usually should take nothing more than 15 minutes. The whole pre-trip, the connection. So look at this. We've got a lock. We've got a good hitch assembly with possible bars that are going to, be installed later. We could always adjust this a little bit lower so it raises it up higher, but we won't know until we pull it out to see how leveled it is. Landing gear is connected. The 7-way's connected. Now we're going to do a pull out and check the lights and the 4-ways and the backup lights and all those things. So now she's ready to go and pull forward.
You didn't chalk it, you said.
Nope, it's not chalk. And there's Rhonda with the, 30-foot tiny home being ready to pull out and hit the road here. Going towards Idaho, relay. She's going to check her mirrors. She's going to check to see the visibility and ensure that it comes straight out on both sides. If it comes straight out all the way, you'll be able to clear both sides without any worries, and then you can turn. So one of the things you got to watch is when you come out with these tiny homes, you see the distance between each. The backswing sometimes gets in the way. When you're turning wide or tight, you still got the space back there that can catch on something, especially when you're in traffic. But look at that. That's riding pretty comfortable, pretty flat, pretty leveled. It's a low profile unit, but it looks good. It's leveled. It could easily do what it needs to be. There is some landing gear here at the front that needs to be raised up a little bit, but it's not going to catch anywhere. It looks good. She's ready to go. We're gonna check the lights now. So this is part of the pre-trip. You know, the first thing you want to make sure you got registration, you got insurance, you got all those things with you. The most important thing is you want to take photos before and after when you're, you know, as Rhonda's doing right now. She's covering a 4-way photos. If you see any damage, if you see any concerns, if you see any scratches, you wanna make sure you point that out before you take possession of the unit, because otherwise you're responsible, especially if you're covering it under your policy. This unit came out of the factory. There's no concerns whatsoever with it. But the minimum requirement as a pre-trip inspection is doing 4 minimum photos of the exterior, 4 what we call is 4 profile photos. Ensure the lights are operational, ensure all the tie downs are secure, ensure your wheels are pressured. And do that, you got to get a little bit of measuring air pressure gauge and check that, and ensure there's nothing loose underneath, and then be safe when you're on the road. So Rhonda's pretty much done. She's going to be taking off here in the next few minutes and delivering this to Idaho, and then Peter, our other driver out there in Idaho, is going to take this unit and make the delivery to, I believe, Montana.